A poor-looking guy was running in a hurry while carrying a bag of bread. However, he fell down after bumping into Kraken. Kraken used his magic to catch the bread, and he asked the guy if he was hurt before offering his hand to help him up. The guy explained that he was in a hurry to get home and bring the food to his siblings. Kraken told him that it was not safe to be outside so late at night, and he might get involved in unexpected trouble. However, he suddenly dropped the bread before stepping on it. The guy could only kneel and look down on the bread while Kraken walked away. His subordinates also asked if they should kill the poor guy, but Kraken told him to let the guy be before he made his way to the magical tower. At the same time, the poor guy watched him leave while smiling. After arriving in front of the magical tower, Kraken called out his subordinates, and then they channeled their magic and bombarded the tower with their spells. The tower's barrier easily blocked their attacks. Kraken was impressed. However, he knew that it couldn't withstand two types of attacks at once, and he ordered some of his subordinates to attack the barrier with their weapons. It didn't take them long to break the barrier, but a huge number of guards were waiting behind the entrance. Kraken didn't feel threatened by the guards, as he ordered his subordinates to deal with them. The guards immediately bombarded the outers with different spells, but the outers easily blocked them, and the melee began. Kraken was taken aback by the guards' preparedness, but his subordinates urged that they get going. So he used an invisible spell to hide themselves, and the guards failed to notice that they were already inside the tower's hall. Kraken pondered the guards' readiness again, and he already realized that they seemed to expect their attack. However, his subordinate interrupted his thought as they arrived in front of the room where the tear of Rejournal is stored. After entering, the outers immediately bombarded the barrier protecting the tears of Rejournal. However, the barrier was still intact after their attacks, so Kraken decided to act, and he used a powerful spell called Earth Rage to destroy the barrier and the gem storage. Kraken was fascinated after seeing the high-ranked gem, but before he could get his hands on it, Pram showed up and asked them to surrender. The outers were confused to see a kid, but Kraken didn't care as he retrieved the tear of Rejournal. However, he asked how Pram knew that they were outers. Pram refused to answer, but he realized how powerful Kraken was just from observing him. Seeing his refusal to answer, Kraken ordered his subordinates to kill Pram, but he got a little curious when he saw Pram dodge all the attacks aimed at him. Pram realized that the outer mages had similar ranks to Romantica, so he didn't let his guard down, and while they were surprised by his strength, he knocked one of the mage unconscious. However, Kraken managed to restrict his movement and hit him with another spell. He also noticed that Pram was still lacking experience, so he continued to use unfamiliar spells to deal with Pram's speed and corner him. Afterwards, he ordered his subordinates to finish off Pram. They immediately launched multiple spells at Pram, but none of them reached him as they were blocked by spells that came out of nowhere. The outers were surprised, and they immediately put up their guard, but Romantica still managed to take out two of them because of her excellent magic control. Kraken realized that the spells weren't that strong, so he immediately protected himself and his remaining subordinates. He started to realize that something was wrong, from the guards' preparedness to the skilled guards assigned to the gem's room. But he was still determined to secure the tears of Rejournal, and he immediately asked his subordinates to protect him at all costs. Then he started channeling a powerful spell while his subordinates sacrificed themselves to stop Pram from approaching. Because of this, Kraken had enough time to activate his spell as he started controlling the rocks around him to attack Pram. He also didn't hesitate to sacrifice his remaining subordinate as he tried to deal with Pram. Pram couldn't believe that his subordinate's life was nothing to Kraken, and he pounced at him while stabbing his rapier. However, Kraken manipulated the rocks to block his sword before attacking Pram. Pram was thrown away after blocking the huge spike made out of stone. And while Pram was down on the ground, Kraken covered his body with rocks to prevent Pram from dealing any damage to him. Pram was completely helpless against Kraken's rock barrier, as not only was it rebuilding itself, but he was also getting used to Pram's attack patterns. Pram was troubled, so Romantica immediately provided support, but her attacks were also blocked by the rock barrier, and Kraken even found her location. Kraken was surprised that what was causing him trouble were just two brats, and he asked who had sent them. But Romantica refused to answer even with his threats, so he immediately sent countless rock shards flying at her. Pram protected Romantica but asked her to stop provoking Kraken, but she refuted that she couldn't help it because of his arrogance. Romantica skillfully controlled her wind spell to attack Kraken, but he still managed to block all of it. However, he was suddenly hit by a rock in his face as Romantica started using a spell similar to his. Kraken was enraged to see Romantica looking down on him, and he immediately attacked her. The collision between their spells created a thick layer of dust. Pram took advantage of this to launch a surprise attack, but Kraken caught his rapier with his hand that was covered in rocks. Afterwards, Kraken declared that playtime was over. Pram barely escaped thanks to Romantica's warning, as Kraken used a powerful spell called Earth Rage to cause a massive explosion. A huge area around Kraken was destroyed, and he slowly descended as he planned to escape. Pram barely managed to hold on to the edge of the floor to avoid falling, while Romantica sneaked out of the pile of concrete, also safe. They thought they were thoroughly beaten, so Romantica realized that they really needed to continue training, while Pram was already looking forward to asking Desir to train them. However, he was still worried if it was fine that Kraken got away. At the same time, Kraken was surprised that their attack was anticipated, but he thought it was expected of Zod Exarian, and he was satisfied as he still managed to secure the Tears of Returnal, so it was a victory for them. However, Desir, who was still disguised as a poor-looking guy, showed up and told him it was too early to celebrate. He declared that Kraken would have to pay for the bread he stepped on from their earlier meeting. Kraken couldn't understand how Desir found him, so Desir showed him how he marked his hand with his mana when Kraken helped him get up. Kraken realized that Desir was responsible for all the attempts to stop him. He was impressed with Desir's skills at such a young age, but he was enraged that he tried to get in his way. He used his Doom Fist to swiftly get rid of Desir, but he was left in disbelief when his spell was inversed, while Desir asked him to return what he had taken. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part, and just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.